dear Steffi Czerny, dear Dr. Cullen, ladies and gentlemen, last year I opened the DLD as a Bavarian State Minister for Digital Agenda and European Affairs. Today I'm here as the new Minister of Justice. I'm very pleased to welcome DLD in the representation of Bavaria in Brussels. The topic of my statement today, regulation and responsibility of social mass media. The digital transformation shapes the future of our economy and society. It has a direct impact on our democracy and society, and it brings about essential challenges. And one of these challenges is, how can we deal with internet giants, especially from the United States, acting globally and being hard to grasp at the same time? There are three main causes for this challenge. First of all, big tech firms operate with a huge amount of personal data. Their extensive data collection threatens our privacy. Second, these firms have enormous market power. They are building monopolies in their sector, so they impede competition. Third, platforms like Facebook enable the spread of hate speech and fake news. In this context, we have a visible lack of regulatory framework and legal enforcement. Three examples. Compared to classical media, platforms still face a low level of regulation. The new data protection regulation is still not enforced effectively. Competition authorities in Europe have not yet been successful enough to restrict monopolies. What can we do to get a grip on the problem? In my opinion, there are 5 fields of action. First of all, the existing rules on data protection must be enforced actively. The new regulation for data protection provides the necessary tools. The European authorities and the national authorities in the countries where the internet giant have their European headquarters, mostly in Ireland, have to do their job. One aspect is that data usage must be based on the user's informed consent. In Facebook, for example, it needs a few clicks only to give the informed consent to the complete use of your data. I seriously doubt that this kind of informed consent is really valid. We want digital privacy according to our values. We want our citizens to decide what happens to the data. Another field is competition law. Monopolies impede competition. New players have no chance to enter the market. Europe is a core market for the internet giants. I'm sure that the Commission is strong enough to restrict monopolies in the digital sector, but they have to act now. We need a level playing field between US, Chinese, and European digital firms. We want many players on the market. Thereby, we have to prevent monopolies of data, and we also need adequate and intelligent taxation in the digital economy. Another important point is the fight against hate speech. With the rise of social networks, hate speech has reached a new dimension. It is much easier to express hatred online than while facing a person. Furthermore, with one click, the whole world can read it. To my mind, hate speech is the preliminary stage of hate action. Those who are ready for violence feel encouraged by the hate speech of others. In Germany, we had to face physical attacks to local politicians in the past months. One politician was even shot in the garden of his house by a right-wing extremist. What must be done? First, hate posts must be notified. Second, they must be reported to the authorities. Third, they must be deleted as fast as possible. Then fourth, hate speech must be prosecuted forcefully. For this purpose, cooperation between media and prosecution authorities is crucial. In Bavaria, we started a cooperation between the Bavarian Center for New Media and the Munich Prosecution Office. Media companies are provided with a simple procedure to report hate crime to the prosecution office. I recognize the efforts of social networks by deleting hate posts based on their community standards. But I must say, this is not enough. They must show more commitment. Facebook, for example, is still reluctant to report hate speech to authorities before deleting. And they're often not willing to provide the necessary data for prosecution. We will not accept this conduct. Social networks have to take on responsibility. Another problem in social networks are fake news. In contrast to hate speech, disinformation in many cases is not illegal. This makes it much harder to react on with legislation. Social media have to show more effort. Signing the EU Code of Practice on Disinformation is good, but not enough. Freedom of opinion is a great value. However, identified disinformation must quickly disappear from newsfeed. This is necessary to keep our democracy alive. Finally, social media firms are also media firms and have to be subject to the respective regulation. 2 reasons. First, many people use social networks as important source of information. Second, social media firms are more than only platforms. The developers of algorithms also make very important decisions. For example, they decide how widely content will be spread. So, social media must be addressed by media regulation with the same rights and duties as classical media. Ladies and gentlemen, let's work together closely and address this challenge by strongly pushing our own European digital agenda for an effective protection of our privacy, for a fair digital market, for preserving our wealth, our cultures, our values, and our European democracies. Thank you very much.